Hey gals, it's Ginny from Marshmallow Ranch. I'm here at the Ponderosa. I have my handy dandy film crew here. Mr. Fix-It is filming this for me. I am making some peach jam today in this new jam and jelly maker that I bought that I told you about, that's from Ball. So we're going to see how that works today. And I wanted to show you how easy it is to prepare peaches for making this jam. I have one here that I have had in the boiling water for about a minute to 2 minutes, and I'm going to put it in the ice water. You don't want this to sit in the water long enough to really cook into the flesh. You just want it enough to have cooked through the outer layer at the peel. When you take this out of the ice water and bring it over here, you should be able to just slip. See how I've come in closer, honey? See how I slipped it? And you can just take your fingers and peel that peel right off. If you do it this way, rather than the traditional taking a paring knife and peel, you get all of the flesh of your peach and no waste of all that goodness that was stuck to the peel that you're then going to throw away. So when you get this all peeled off, it's going to look like this. I already have one done here. And I made a bowl of cold water with Fruit Fresh in it. Fruit Fresh is a product that keeps the fruit from turning brown. It's just Fruit Fresh produce protector. It keeps the fruit from turning brown. As you can see, it's still pretty and bright and yellow, just like you see in the cans of jars of peaches. So I'm just going to take my paring knife and I'm going to go right down the little fold that God put in that peach just for me. And I'm going to go all the way around. And when I separate this, if I were going to be canning peaches, it doesn't matter so much if I'm making jam. But if I'm canning peaches, I really want these to stay pretty and pretty halves. So you just gently, gently, gently put your thumb here at the shoulder and just gently start to pry that piece of fruit away from the pit. These are Freestone peaches. They are not clings. If you have ever tried to make jam and peaches with clings, they're a lot more work, but they really are flavorful. So now I also don't want to mash this end if I were making peaches. So what I would do, instead of putting my finger here and prying this off, I'm going to take the end of this knife and I'm going to use the flesh of the peach itself as leverage, and then I'm going to take that off. And if there's any big strands of hard membrane left from the pit, you can just kind of scrape that away and put that away. And so then you have your nice peaches. So now I'm going to take just a regular potato masher and I'll mash that up. I may use my immersion blender to kind of just chop it up a little bit. It goes really fast. And then I'll measure out my pulp and put the pectin in the jelly maker, put the pulp in, turn it on, let it run. When it beeps 4 times, you put your sugar in, and you're done. So that's my peach jam. Okay, here you can see the timer gets automatically set on this. You press the button for either jam or jelly, and in this case we're doing jam, and when you start jam, it automatically starts to 21 minutes. You put the Sure Gel or whatever, I'm using Ball Classic Pectin, and you put that, sprinkle that in the bottom. You put your measured fruit in and a little bit of butter, and that will help keep, when it starts boiling later, it'll help keep the foam down. So there's we go so far. In 4 minutes we'll have 4 quick beeps, and then we gradually add the sugar. While we're waiting for the peach to start cooking, I have my jelly jars in a water bath, and they're sterilized and ready to go, full of water, and all I'll have to do is take the prongs and take them out and empty them out, and then I can pour the hot jam in. And there are the lids and rings, and they are in, I always put my lids in with the rings. It never tells you not to really, but Grandma always did, because then when you pick them up, you can get a hold of the rim with the tongs, and it's easier to get them out. Flip it over the top, put your lid on, and then screw down the ring. Okay, we just got our 4 quick beeps that tells us that it's time to add the sugar a little bit at a time. This is my handy dandy scoop that I bought when I was up at Amish country at Lehman's hardware store. And I'm just going to scoop out some sugar and sprinkle it over the top as it turns. Easy peasy, easy peasy. I measured out the sugar into a bowl. I want most of this to go on the fruit, not necessarily in that dark spot where it's empty, because I don't want clumps. It's starting to fill in. Okay. Just add that. I know, it's a lot of sugar, isn't it? I just had a discussion about this morning with Mr. Fix-It. He has diabetes. And I have tried making the low sugar varieties of this, and I'm not happy with the consistency. It's always runnier, and I don't particularly like it. So with as little, it's not like he's going to be sitting with a jar of this jam and eat it with a spoon, although that's pretty darn tasty. But he'll be he's very frugal with it. He just puts a little on his toast or his English muffin, or that nice sourdough bread that I make. And there it is. So now I'm going to, in this particular recipe, it tells me to put the lid on. So the lid goes on, and now it's just going to do its thing. You can already start to see it starting to boil and steam up the lid there, and we'll go from there. Here we are at 9 minutes left, and as you can see, it's rapidly boiling. What a cool thing to have this automatic stirrer. Don't even have to stir, it won't stick on the bottom, won't burn. Very, very neat. Okay, the timer just went off. It stopped boiling. I'm going to take off the lid. I'll set it on top of the canner right there. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is take a towel and take out the stirrer. It's hot. I have a pie plate here. One of my Aunt Peeps' old Pyrex pie plate. I'm going to set that aside because we're going to wash that in a few. And now it's ready to start putting in the jars. I'll have to get back to you. Okay, now I have 4 jars filled. A batch only makes 4 jars. So I've got 4 jars filled, and they're in the water bath, and they're going to process for about 5 to 10 minutes. I have to check that. I think it's at least 5, maybe 10. Anyway, so there's the other jars staying sterile. So I'm going to get another batch going. Okay, this is the last batch of the peaches, and I didn't have quite enough to make the 2 2/3 cups that it needed for the recipe. So I added some chunks of beautiful, sweet, red plums. I kept the skins on them because that adds nice flavor and texture, but the color is going to be beautiful in this jam. And there you go. 16 jars of jam. We have peach that just came out just beautiful, sunny. We have that little bit of peach plum. You can see the bits of peach or plum peel in there. And then plum jam, nice and red. That was, I don't know, 6 hours of work. It was a lot of fun though, and that jam and jelly maker by Ball is perfect. I love it. See you next time.